This afternoon is How to Go Diamond. Okay? All right, just a couple things. You know, 1 in 17 people in the world are born in America. And that's lucky, isn't it? Just lucky that we're Americans. So all you have to do is go some other place in the world, and when you come back, you realize what we've got, sort of, when you see how other people have to live. And I don't know what the odds are of being born into the egg organization, but I just know one thing: you're in the best organization there is in the world. Anyway. Now, when you get outside, you have to be very careful of that. We're very proud of it, but you have to be very careful with it. And that some other people feel like it's a put down, but I think it's wonderful to be able to be proud of the organization that you happen to be born into in this business. Now, we're not going to put anybody else down. We're just going to say we're in the very best. Okay? And I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining that, but, you know, the way you check it is check the fruit on the tree. And there's a reason why there's a lot of success in it. And there's a reason why that the leadership seems to be pretty sound. And across the board you find pretty solid people. But in building this business, going direct and being an emerald diamond is really not the challenge. The challenge is in developing the glue that holds an organization together. Okay? Realizing that it's a business of total integrity, of respecting each other, and just because somebody got in before somebody else doesn't make that somebody got in first greater or better than the other person. Like you heard me say yesterday, if you want somebody under you, run out to the graveyard and run around till you're exhausted. Because I don't consider anybody under me in this business. I consider us all eagles, and just some of them got bigger wings than others. But we decided not to be chickens. Like, I don't believe just because you got somebody in depth that's growing better than somebody between you and them that you discard those people and show no interest in them. That some people are going to grow slow and some are going to grow fast, and we have the same responsibility to all of them. To love them, to make them feel needed and wanted and part of the organization, and never do anything to make them feel alienated from it. And that's a very important principle. Because when you get to the top of the mountain, the view's the same for all. The idea is to help them get to the top. And some people have different drummers than other people do, and the important thing is that we all maintain our own individuality, and we don't have to be like anybody. I'm happy to tell you in here today that none of you have to be like Dex. None of you ladies got to be like Birdie. None of you got to be like Peggy or like me. None of you have to be like Hal or Susan. None of you have to be like Bill or Hunter or like your Emeralds or Pearls. You're just like yourself. You use what you are, become what you want to be. This is a business of individuals maintaining their individuality. And when we talk about edifying leadership, we only talk about of respecting those that respect you. That we have to have some resemblance of organization in order to have an organization. And the beauty of the whole business is that the upline is always, practically always, but should be always for people that are in the organization, because everybody wants everyone to succeed. You'll notice that I'm cross-lined from you folks. We're cousins in the organization, and Dex and Birdie's organization. But I want your success just as much as I do, really and truly, for my own people, because I have another selfish reason for it. I have the incentive of wanting to live in a free country, and I believe we're the people that are creating freedom more than anybody else. Us grassroots people, right down in living room dens in America today. And so I have a sincere desire for you to succeed. And I'm going to give you the very best knowledge and wisdom that I got this afternoon and about the next hour. And I believe that what I'm going to tell you is solid stuff. And I believe if you understand it, you can go diamond. And I believe that a diamond in this organization is going to make at least $100,000 a year. And I believe you can do it in 2 years, while you still keep your job if you want to. I believe that diamond is the real first goal that people ought to shoot for. Now, pearl and emerald are nice, but diamond is where it is. And I think that everything sort of centered around that, because a lot of people in here like to have a new home, right? New car, travel, nice clothes. Those are nice, but diamond gets them all. So rather than get it all confused, why don't we just say the goal is diamond. And let's get hung up on, so that means break. Okay? So you got the idea. So everything I'm going to do and say today is directed towards let's go diamond. All right. So we got that clear, okay? And everybody understands that. Now, I got a formula in mind I'm going to get to in just a minute, but I just want to tell you that if you don't do it, it isn't going to be because you're too old or too young or too fat or too skinny. It's going to be simply because you don't do it on a consistent and persistent basis. If you don't do it, it isn't going to be because the business won't work. It's because you don't work it. So don't ever point a finger at anybody else or something, because we know about the Amway business. We know that it works if you work it. That one day you may show it to somebody that gets mad because you show them how to make money because they think they're supposed to be poor. And next day you may show it to the biggest person that ever got in the business. It's sort of like going out to the ocean and fishing. You don't know when you see them. You don't know when you meet them. But all you know is time's going to tell what's inside the person. And I think that most of you in here can agree that there's something way beyond money involved. That if it was just money, we wouldn't have the dedication that we have, and we wouldn't have the intensity of desire that we seem to gender up in this business, that there's something driving us way beyond that. That money's great, and that if it's made right, it can be used right. We know that if it's made wrong, it'll be used wrong. But this is a way to make it right, and that then we can use it in such a wonderful way to affect the lives of other people in a positive way. It's something that we never really get into because it's sort of scary about how we're being used. But something we know big is going. I know the world's a little bit better because I'm in Amway. And I know it's a little bit better because you're in Amway. But you know, it sort of gets confusing when we say we're in Amway, because we're in business for ourselves. We sell soap. We're proud of it. But it's even more, it's way beyond that. Because we're in a movement, friend. We're going to straighten America out. Yes, sir. Now, you know, liberals are always bad losers. And you've seen television full of loser liberals since the election. And they still haven't figured out what happened. And they still haven't got the message, and I'm telling you a fact that they'll never get the message. Because have you ever seen people that can't understand the message of this business? If they have a closed mind, they have a closed what? A closed heart. And when they got a closed mind and a closed heart, it's going to stay closed until something opens it, if it's ever opened. And when you got a closed mind to the truth, it's going to stay closed to the truth because they don't want to open it up to the truth. God told us that the truth would set us free. And that's what we're really seeking, is truth and a relationship with other human beings. Finding our own niche here in life. And finding out that we're all bigger than we thought we were. That we all have a responsibility to each other. That we can't live on this earth without fulfilling some type of responsibility to a fellow man. And we found a way to do it. By sticking a hand out and saying, come on in, the world is great. Join us. We want you to be on the beaches of the world with us. We want to be there together because we choose to belong to the winner's circle, to the winner's club. So we want to do whatever it takes. All we need to know is, what does it take so we can do it? How to go diamond in 2 years. Now, you may not be totally there, but you should have the foundation set so you're within months of it, okay? Have you ever noticed how people change when they go diamond in the business? Have any of you been in long enough to see folks that just didn't hardly know which way they were going, and then they go diamond, and then all of a sudden, man, they got it all together? You know, that's a life-shattering change, life-changing. It's a life not shattering. It's a life change situation. People gain more confidence. I tell you, how many of you know Bob and Jackie Zender? Well, I tell you, you should hear them speak now as diamonds. Now, before, nobody wanted to hear them speak much. In fact, Bob used to go around blowing horns and red, white, and blue clothes, red, white, blue striped shirt. He looked like a clown at one time. I remember I got with him and I said, Bob, you need to tone down the excitement 3 notches. Cool it just a little bit. And everything, but now I tell you, Bob and Jackie's entered some of the most desired speakers across the country because they really got their act together and they got diamond in there real strong. And their people just love them unbelievably. And they have unbelievable loyalty within their organization. Why? Because they serve their own people. And they became not self-centered, but other-centered in the process. Because, you see, we talked to them about this thing we're going to talk to you about. How to go diamond in 2 years. How to put it all together in 2 years. And I'm going to show you how. I believe it's impossible to fail this goal if you do these things. All right? Now, first of all, let's understand the formula. The formula is needs times faith equals motivation. Needs times faith equals motivation. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I believe that the beginning of success is being honest with yourself. Not hiding the truth. Bringing the truth out into the open and being honest about it. I believe the beginning of success is recognizing that we're stupid. And that's the truth, isn't it? There's nobody in here that knows everything there is to know. In fact, I had a PhD not long ago that said, Bill, do you think I can make it in this business? I said, when you figure out you're stupid, you can make it. Because you see, when people act like they already know everything, no one can teach them anything because their pride is a barrier, isn't it? They're not open to learning. You know, I believe that people with the greatest number of degrees in education can learn from a little child if they'll listen sometimes. Or from a person that never finished high school. I believe that you can learn great things from a person that never went to had formal education, if you're willing to learn. And I think when we quit learning, we quit growing. And when someone thinks they already know it all, there's no place to go. So pride becomes an unbelievable barrier to us in our life. When we believe we've already got everything we ever needed and wanted, we quit growing. When we quit needing, we quit growing. And a human being is sort of like a flower. Let's, for a rose, for example. A rose is either growing or dying, isn't it? And that's the way human beings are. They're growing based on the fact that they need something. They're honest about their needs, or if they've already got everything they need, then what are they doing? They're dying. See, when we need something and we're motivated to go after it, we're excited about it because we have the potential of the unexpected or that which we're hoping and dreaming for becoming a reality in our life, so we're encouraged to go after it. And when we quit dreaming, when we quit hoping that there's something else out there for us, when there's nothing to stretch and reach for, then life reverses and we start dying. See? Now, the real problem up here is not that we don't have needs. There's several problems in this formula. One is that we're not honest about our needs. Another is that the multiplying factor is faith. And faith can be broken down into 2 parts for this purpose. One is faith in others, the other is faith in self. And I claim one of the major problems in this country, in a free country today, is not the problem of faith in others. The problem is faith in self. And when self-image is low, the multiplying factor is low, so needs are going to be what? Y'all know how that works, right? Now, how many of you have eaten out of the house in the last week? How many of you knew the chef here at the hotel? You ate the food on what? You don't know if it was arsenic, or if it was salt that they put on the food, right? Even when you take the salt shaker, it looks like salt, and you sprinkle it on your food, you do that out of what? You drove your car here out of what? That no one run into you, and that your brakes would work, and your tires would hold the air, right? How many of you ever got on an airplane, and you don't know if there's a monkey flying the thing or not? Maybe a baboon out there just ready to take off. All he's waiting for you is to strap in. You just get in there on that plane and turn right and sit in the seat, and you have no idea who's up front, do you? That's what? Faith. You see, we have no problem having faith in others. Our problem is having faith in who? Ourselves. That's why, we say a lot, hey, if I can do it, and you tell your people, hey, if I can do it, what are we trying to prove to people? They've got the ability, right? Now, you see, a low self-image, let's take some very poor people that have been on welfare or something. Do they have a high self-image? No. There is no way people can take something they haven't earned and have a high self-image at the same time. In fact, the handout is destructive to the self-image. It destroys a high self-image. It creates a low self-image automatically. Government people don't want to recognize that, but that's what it does. It takes away more than you can give. Now, you see, your needs, being a function of your self-image, will create the motivation, or if you want to call it the action, to make the needs become a reality. Now, let's, in talking about needs for just a moment, we all need to be loved, admired, respected, don't we? Your kids, your wife, your husband, your family, your mother and father, we need the approval of other people in our life. We need goals. What else do we need? We need a victory every now and then, don't we? See, a lot of people would like to have the victory, but they don't want the struggle, and they go together. You can't have the victory if you don't have the struggle. There is no gain without pain. In other words, there's got to be the struggle. And that's one of the beauty parts of the business. There's no success without failure, right? So it's got to be there. How would you like to see someone that had a victory that never had a struggle? You see, we relate to struggle because that's what man's all about, is overcoming his problems through struggle to have the victory. In fact, when you have speakers in, when you're speaking and you're the speaker for your group, if you get up and say, well, I've never had any problem, I just did it, there's nothing to it. Or if some little rich kid said, I've never had a struggle, my daddy gave me everything I wanted, no problem. You say, well, la-di-da, sit down, shut up. You want to hear somebody that's had a struggle, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? So what's wrong with struggle? Nothing, as long as there's a... Now, you don't hear somebody say, well, we've had problems all our lives and we've never overcome them. Sit down and shut up. You want to hear somebody say, I had this problem, but we overcame it. Here's how. You see, just like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, they don't have the people get up and talk when they're in the gutter. They don't go pick them out of the gutter and stand up there and tell how bad they are. They don't do that until they believe they've conquered their problem. He used to say, man, I was the biggest sot in town. Yeah, the bigger sot they were, the more people clap, because they know what's going to come in. But I overcame it. Everybody's happy then, right? What is it? Struggle and victory, isn't it? You understand what I'm saying? Friend, I want you to have a lot of struggles. I want you to have a lot of victories. And that's where you're going to find out if you got any guts or not. And you do have them. All you got to do is decide to use them. There's not a soul in this room that cannot be a Diamond Direct distributor if you want to bad enough. Okay, you with me? All right. Now, there's other things that are involved in self-image. One is appearance. Now, I am not an expert on clothing, but I know it's of major importance. I know that your teeth are of major importance. I know the way you cut your hair is of major importance because you have to relate to other people in this business. You can't do it isolated. You have to relate to other people, so your first impressions need to be the best they can be. I'd recommend most people to go diamond. Most guys should have blue suits of fine quality, not really too expensive, but in today's market, somewhere around $150 to $190. But they should be of good quality, like when you sit in your car and drive 2 or 3 hours, when you get out, you should look neat when you stand before the board. You see, there's one thing you can never have a second chance for, and that's a second impression. The first impression is always the first impression. So the way you look is vital. And then the way you speak is vital. The first impression of what you do, think, and say, and how you express yourself to other people is all important, because this is a business of making a lot of first impressions. Now, we figure we've got somewhere around 100,000 people in our organization. And so I've made 100,000 first impressions, haven't I? And so you too will be making first impressions on your people. These weekends, in my opinion, clothes are a tool. You don't see very successful businessmen or women dressed like unsuccessful people. They dress to fit the image. Now, if you'll notice, most people dress based on what their image is of themselves. Now, around home, I'm just dungarees and velour shirt and stuff like that. Good quality stuff, but I don't get hung up on dressing around the house and around my town where I live and everything. But when I get in front of my Amway people, I'm going to have a good quality suit on. Shirt, tie, the whole works. Now, I'm overweight, and you can see that. And I'm working on that. If I got one problem, it's the only food I eat is that I can see. My only problem is, I don't eat too much unless I'm close to food. But I'm overcoming that. I'm claiming it anyway. But even if you're overweight like me, you can still dress it up pretty decent. You may have to pull your pants up every now and then. But you can still dress it up good. You with me? Okay, now, you guys with all the hair. I just want to tell it like it is. If you're poor and you want to stay that way, keep your hair. If you're really serious about your future, you need to get it as neat as it can be so that when other people see you, they see a neat, clean, concerned person. Now, some of you say, well, look, Dex has got a beard and a mustache. Yeah, but Dex doesn't have to relate to anybody. He did not start out that way. I'm telling you, beards and poverty starting that way will usually keep you that way. Now, there's some exceptions. Some guys look good with them, but they're rare. Most guys, young guys that have mustaches, do it because it makes them look older. And definitely the Fu Manchu is out. Fu Manchu makes you look like you're poverty-stricken. Or a playboy that goes to discos on Saturday night type stuff. It signifies your real mental attitude in life. And that's not the mental attitude that it takes for a successful business human being. Just like the women. The women can't wear low-cut dresses and high slits in the skirts. Now, they may be okay if you're with your husband and going to a dance or going to a party or something like that, but in this business, there's no place for it. So I'm just going to make a couple recommendations without getting in depth here about self-image. Appearance is vital. Now, here's a good-looking guy, right? What's your first name, please? Bert? Stand up a minute, Bert. Now, I don't even know who Bert is. Come up here a minute, Bert. Okay, now, Bert could be a diamond. If he isn't, he should be soon. Okay. Good to see you, Bert. Okay, now, Bert is dressed good. Is that black? That's black. Okay, and you see Bert's nice trim guy, nice trim hair, good-looking teeth. Like a horse, you check the teeth. Now, he could come in my home and talk to me sincerely about an opportunity. I'd listen to him. Okay, could you? Now, it's been proven that a man's word carries more authority when he's in blue or black. Medium to dark blue, medium to dark gray, and blacks. You can wear almost any color tie you want to with black suits. You can wear orange, red, green, anything, blue. You can wear any color tie with a black suit. It's basic. You see, it's basic to success. Now, plaid suits, forget them. Brown suits, forget them. If you got them, wear them to dog fights, and... but you see what I'm saying? Neat, right? He could talk to you. Now, I could bring some guys in this room that look like scallywags up, and they could talk to you about shearing your dog or trolling your horse or something. Thank you, appreciate it. I just saw him out there. Thank you.
And you're looking for... Now, you guys that are bald-headed, no problem. Surveys show that people listen to you, in fact, even a little bit more than guys with hair. Because when you haven't got it, you don't have to worry about it. And Dex says that God covered up the heads he was ashamed of. No, but the study showed that women don't care whether, as far as love and admiration and everything goes, that it makes no difference whether a guy's bald-headed or got hair as far as their love and admiration and all that. And that as far as business goes, it makes absolutely no difference in terms of, is the person going to have his word going to carry authority if he's got a lot of hair or a little bit of hair. It's just, what it is, it's mostly too much hair is the problem. Now, if you'd let a few ounces of hair keep you poor, that's your right. Right? But you can't look like you should be on a bronc buster, on a horse, busting him, and build a business, in my opinion. You have to look business-like, like you're serious. You see, because people will not believe you until they believe you're going to do it, whether they do it or not, and they believe you're serious. And you see, you can't believe you're serious because other people believe about you what you believe about you, and so you got to believe you're going to do it, and you got to know you'll pay the price. If it means getting a certain suit or cutting your hair a certain way and wearing a certain type of shoe where everything's done right, for instance, your shirt should always come out somewhere around 3/8 of an inch below the end of your sleeve on your coat. Your shirt should show. And you should wear basically white shirts. If you stick with white, no problem. Just do that and it'll diamond, then you can splurge out, okay? Just stick with white shirts until you're diamond. And nobody can ever complain about that, just so they're clean and starched or whatever you do. All right, so I'm telling you, folks, that is vital. Another thing is, if you got a tooth problem, hawk anything. The TV first. And go to the dentist and say, I'm in a business where my mouth is important, and I want it fixed right, period. If you got to borrow the money, and if you can afford to, I'm not telling you to go get yourself in Turbo Hawk or anything, but whatever it takes, get your teeth shiny, get them looking good, get them capped if you have to, or crowned, whatever they call it, okay? Don't dare go through all your life with a tooth problem where you know you can't smile because you don't look good. Now, if you're the best that you can look under the circumstances, be proud of it and don't worry about it. But where an improvement can be made in the mouth, you see, because the mouth is one of the most important parts of our whole body. Because you're always talking, people are always looking at your mouth, aren't they? They're looking at your face and your mouth. Okay? So, I'm just going to get off that. I just wanted to point it out. I'm not going to this is nothing personal. I'm not criticizing anyone personally. I haven't noticed anybody here that I wanted to get on or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I believe, and you can, because you can take what I believe and throw it in a trash can or use it. Either one, it's up to you, isn't it? I'm just going to give you what I believe. All right, now, you see, self-image is involved there. I find a lot of guys, like they're young, get the mustaches, and you say, why? I want to look older. Or they say, my wife likes it. I don't care what your wife likes. You know? In terms of a mustache. Man, you do what you got to do. Period. That's it. Whatever it takes. So, self-image is a big thing. Now, how can we overcome our bad self-image? There's only one way to raise self-image. There's only one way to overcome self-image problems. And everybody's got them. Everybody's got them. There's only one way to overcome it. I'm going to tell you what it is. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to show you how to overcome it and go diamond at the same time. You like that? Okay, but let's get back to needs before I do it real quick. How many of you need to write your boss a letter? How many of you need your own airplane? How many of you need to give a lot of money to charity, to church? How many of you need to help start a boys' home or a girls' home or a home for the underprivileged? How many of you need to help people that really need some help, to get them on their feet, not give them a handout? How many of you need a cottage in the mountains? How many of you need a cottage at the beach? How many of you need for your wives to quit working? How many of you need to give your resignation at work? You know? How many of you need $100,000 in the bank after you've paid your bills? How How many of you need to pay off Sears and Roebuck? How many of you need to pay off your credit cards? You know? How many of you need to set an example for your kids? See, we have all sorts of needs, don't we? So let's get honest about them. Now, you don't know you got a need until you are honest about it. See? A lot of people won't say, I need more money. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'll get fired next year, but I'm doing pretty good. I remember I told this one guy, Finn Horton, 10.5 years ago when I showed him the plan, when I'm telling you just left Valdosta, good friend now. I said, Finn, there's no future in this business, being a city manager. Oh, yes, there is. Yeah, your future is getting fired, one city after the other. And a lot of turmoil in between, looking for another job. Trying to tell people, you're really not that bad. It was all those city councilmen that were bad. You see, it's pretty hard for a fired city manager to get another job. It's worse than being a coach. I wouldn't dare be I'd love to coach young kids, but I wouldn't dare be a coach where I depended on that for a livelihood. That's very degrading, to get wiped out all the time. No wonder they have bad self-images and try to cover it up and act like they haven't. You see? Because what? You're always under somebody's what? Thumb. Like the Baptist church where I used to belong to. They've never had a preacher that didn't fire. And Stansel Balcom used to go around for 3 years. He told people not to get in my business. He was a preacher at the church. Materialistic? Stay out of it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. He used to have to ride by my house every day and see my cars and motorhomes and Cadillacs and Corvettes. And he knew I wasn't giving to the church, his church, what I should. He didn't know what I was giving to. I wasn't giving to that church much. And he was telling people to stay out. Then he got fired. He went over in 21 days. Fastest we ever had. He went pearl faster than anybody ever did in our organization. He's changed his tune. And rather than hate my guts like he used to, now I'm one of his best friends. And I admire he and Pat very, very much because they recognize some truth. You know, and they're working the business as hard as anybody I know. And they got a very strong emerald ship coming on the diamond like you wouldn't believe, paying the price. And people love them across this country because they're having a struggle, but they're having a victory at the same time. Now, you see, it's funny how self-image works and how our needs work. But I believe the beginning of success is to be honest about your needs. We need to be happy, don't we? We need some security. You know? We need some money in the bank in a capitalistic society. We need to be able to give part of our income to charity, to church, to a cause, to a purpose, don't we? We need to make more than we need so we can give. We need to give some of our time. You know, a lot of people say you're supposed to, if you're of this or that religion, you're supposed to tithe 10% of your income. How'd you like to give 90% of your time? That's what's really important, not the money, the time. How'd you like to give 10% of your income and 90% of your time? Or 90% of your income and 10% of your time? Whatever it is. How'd you like to give 50% of your income and 50% of your time? See, time is what's really important. And so we learn to give our time. You know what you do every time you put gas in your car? And use your tires and your vehicle that you've paid for? And your time to go tell someone about a better way of life? Have you ever figured out about it? Sort of the giving process, isn't it? Then you see the results that you see at some of these weekends. People want to get their life totally right. Not just partially, but totally right. So you see, we all have a lot of needs. We need to be respected. We need to be admired. We need to be loved. We need friends. We need some acquaintances too, but we need friends, and you can't have a friendship if you don't earn it. It's impossible to have a friendship unless it's earned. There's a difference between acquaintances and friendships. See, most people have acquaintances rather than friends. So you see, we've got to be honest about our needs now. So I'm going to encourage you to be honest about your needs right now. What do you really need? Just say a couple things out. Everybody say different things. Need diamonds. Free Excalibur. Who said Excalibur? I got 2 of them. You need 3 of them. I got one for me and one for Peg. Airplane? How many of you need to take care of your parents? How many of you like to take your mother, if she's living, to a department store and tell them, don't let her see the price tags, I want her to have anything she wants? No limitation whatsoever. How many of you like to take some of your little nephews or kids to one of these best store type things where they got toys all over the place and give them 15 minutes to buy anything they want and they get so frustrated they can't buy it? You only have one thing. You got 15 minutes to figure out what it is. They're all over the place. Oh, this, that, no, this is. That's a lot of fun. See, we have needs. Okay? Now, how can we raise self-image? You see, as the multiplying factor of faith increases, we're motivated at a higher level to take the action to make the needs become a reality, right? Because our self-image says we can have that need filled. Again, look at people that are on poverty, that are poor, poverty, welfare, what have you. You know, they don't really need a Rolls Royce or a Cadillac, do they? What do they need? They need something that's pretty hard to get, and that's love and admiration and respect and all those things. And you see, you can't get other people to respect you until you respect yourself. So see, they have an impossible situation. They act like this and act like that, but it's not real. I'm telling you, happiness is not just something you do on Saturday night that makes you smile and laugh. Happiness is continuous. There's highs and lows, but it's continuous. All right? So here's the key right here. This is one key, and self-image is the other key. Because the motivation and the action is automatic when we get the self-image right, so we make the needs become a reality once we're honest about stating and understanding what our needs are as human beings. Now, here's the only way that I know of that you can change self-image. And that's through an interpersonal relationship with other people where you get a feedback of what they think about you as you have this relationship, this interaction relationship with other people. And we can look at it like a 4-pane window, like you have in your home. And say that this represents a personality to some degree today. And you see that these things that you know about yourself, that other people know about you also. Your height, weight, age, background, maybe your parents, your work, etc., your dislikes and likes, your hobbies, the kind of car you drive, different things that are obvious about you. Okay? But then there are these things that you know about yourself that other people do not know about you, and you're not going to tell them. They're private and personal. Some of them are problems and some of them are not problems, but they're personal. Not even your wife or husband's going to know about some of them, because you keep them to yourself. And there are these things that other people know about you that you don't know about yourself. That's right. I can give you a good example. When I was in OCS at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, the last act we had to do is they gave us 44 pieces of paper. And on each person that graduated, each one of our classmates, we had to take one page and write and critique all the good points about that person, and take the other page and critique all the bad points and shortcomings about that human being. And nobody signed them. That meant that I got 22 people that wrote good sheets about me and answered some questions on it, and 22 bad ones. And every other person in the class got the same thing. It's one of the most eye-opening things I ever had in my life. Because I didn't think I had any shortcomings. I mean, I wasn't doing anything bad or wrong. I was just me. And I remember I got into those things, and I had 2 stacks of them, good and bad. And I didn't think they'd have anything to write on the bad side, because I was such a good guy. In class and everything, always smiling, laughing, and fight somebody if they wanted to. Whatever. And I got to reading the good ones, and man, they said he's tenacious. I remember some guy used the word tenacious, and I had to look it up. Got a lot of heart. Dedicated. Serious. Jovial. Oh, these were wonderful things they were saying. These guys, boy, sharp guys in my class. Then I got over to the other side. Faults. They started writing down faults. One of them, about the first one was pretty good, didn't find too much. About the second one, I recall, said, doesn't care what other people think. Well, I don't care what other people, who does he think he is? I bet I know which one it was. wrote that junk. Then another one says, he never listens to other, he finds it difficult or something like that to listen to other people. Another one said, when you're talking, all he wants you to do is hurry up so he can start talking. He doesn't listen to what you say. In other words, through all of them, there was this continuity that I had a real bad problem. That is that when other people were talking, I was wanting them to shut up real quick so I could talk. And I wasn't listening to them. I just wasn't listening to them. You've seen people like that, haven't you? Just want to run their mouth all the time. Well, that was me. And I got upset first 3 or 4, but when about 18 out of 22 said it, and this was a surprise to all of us. Nobody knew we were going to do it. They just walked in the last class and said, we got one final thing to do. Here it is. And nobody could look at what anyone else was writing because it was done there, and we left when it was over with. Just first and top impressions were put down on that paper, and the instructor said, look, it's to help everybody in here. You just give your impression. There's no name sign. You just do it to help this person. Know his weak and strong points. Well, that made an impression on me. And every time somebody's talking, just about all the time I remember that, and I still have a problem overcoming it. You've seen people like that. Well, they wrote some more things down there too, but I was too eager to fight. I had a chip on my shoulder. If anybody, they said it was too easy. Because I'd fight in a second. It didn't make any difference to me. And that was what I was good at. So I was always ready to prove it. Anybody want to take me on? Didn't care what size, didn't care anything. And just let's get at it. And so they brought that out. And that's sort of the way I knew that. But I didn't fight that, and so forth. So I knew some of these things they wrote down, but a lot of them I didn't know. But these things about myself that were there that I didn't know. That's the same way about you. Okay? Now, there are these things that we don't know about ourselves that do exist, in addition to these, but there are then these things that we don't know, that other people don't know, that exist also. Now, we need to know about this, but here's the real hidden treasure in our personality, right here. The things that other people don't know and that we don't know. Like some of you gals in here may be living with a tiger and not really know it yet. Because the guy never had an opportunity or a vehicle to succeed with. And so you never saw him that dedicated because it's pretty hard to get dedicated to a dead-end job. Most women are not aware that their husbands really do not like their jobs. Like I tell people, if the woman really likes her work, you better check and see who she's working with. Maybe he's handsome. Or something. I'm serious. A lot of that hanky-panky stuff going on in this world. Now, see, if someone says, like if a teacher says they like to teach, hey, this is the greatest teaching profession I know. We teach mom and dads how to be happy so they can get their own kids happy, so we don't have some socialist teacher teaching them how to be happy, which you can't do anyway. All right? So, right here's the key. Now, we can either go negative or positive here. If you hang around with the wrong people, you're going to find out the bad things about the potential of your personality. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like that sign I was telling you about yesterday, it's pretty hard to be an eagle when you're surrounded by a bunch of turkeys. But I'll guarantee you, if you hang around for a couple of years with some bank robbers, you're going to be thinking it's a pretty good deal. How do you think people become bank robbers? Because they're hanging around somebody that first has the idea, right? And so then other people get the idea, right? How do you get people to be revolutionaries? Somebody's got an idea and someone hangs around with them. And pretty soon they get a following. You tend to become like who you hang around with. That's why you should always check the fruit on the tree. If you don't like that fruit, you better get away from that tree. Now, but if we're hanging around, if we're associating with people that are positive with their life, that are going in a positive direction, that want to accomplish something, that are overcomers, becoming what they haven't been, which is better than what they were because they're willing to change, that means they're winners because they're upward mobile and they're going towards a goal. You with me? Am I making sense? Okay, this gets a little tedious here, but watch me. Okay, so here's how simple it is. Say that you're working towards, you're upward mobile and working towards a goal here. This being a goal, something up here being a goal. All right? This is the key. Consistency plus persistency towards attainment of that goal is going to equal emotional maturity, create emotional maturity, which equals emotional security, which raises self-image. You with me? Consistency and persistency towards a goal creates emotional maturity because you have the struggle and the victory because of the fact that you keep hanging in there and you keep on keeping on, and that it creates emotional maturity, which generates itself into emotional security, which means you believe in yourself, you feel God's second commandment, which is love thy neighbor as thyself, and you can't love your neighbor until you love yourself. And you become happy with who you are because you find out that you are an overcomer and that you can have a goal and make it become a reality in life through consistency and persistency, which means if you fail, you just keep on going because failure is a part of success. Once you're consistent and persistent because you're dead set on getting that goal, or I don't like dead set, you're directed towards making that goal become a reality because you're a goal-oriented human being. That's the way God made us. And so that makes you begin to believe in yourself, which raises self-image, which makes the multiplying factor bigger, which means that you can work to make those needs come true. And if you need to be a diamond, you take the action. You're motivated to take the action to do what it takes to fill that need. You with me? Now, let me tie it down to diamond real quick. We understand these figures right here. Now, they're not absolutes. They vary according to the individual and to the constitutional makeup of that individual and consistency and everything, but a lot of us have more to overcome than others. But we found out if you sponsor 15 to 20 people, hold 5 to 7 meetings for those that are willing, all 15 to 20 of them, that out of that should come 6 to 8 directs, and that should all happen in 24 months. Five and 6 nights a week is the consistency. And don't judge 1 week by itself. You got to put them all together. Now here's the key. You have to work this business 1 year on faith. You may not see much happening, but you're making the mistakes honestly, and you're just keeping on, and in that year's time, maybe 8 months, maybe 6 months for some, maybe a year and a half for others, but in approximately that amount of time, you're going to prove to other people that you're going to do it whether they do it or not. Because you're known as one. In other words, whoever's in your downline, they're not going to worry about, is he going to do it, is she going to do it? Hey, they're going to do it. Whatever it takes. And when other people believe that you're going to do it, whatever it takes, because you got your life together, and you're consistent and persistent in that goal endeavor, you're going to create a self-image that says, I'm going to do it, period. That's it. And other people believe it. Now, you want to hit it again? Sponsor 15 to 20 people at your level. What I mean, people you can communicate with, that you'd like to eat out with, take a trip with, that you'd enjoy having you and your husband or you and your wife with. That's all. That you'd like to be friends with. Hold 5 to 7 meetings for those people that are willing. You may sponsor somebody who says, I don't want you to do anything. They don't do anything. Hold 5 to 7 meetings for those. And in that time, you find out this is a business of relationships, and you will have developed a positive relationship or no relationship. And either it's a go or a no-go situation. For me, by the time I've held 5 to 7 meetings, it's either go or no-go. It's either direct or forget it. Because I'll pull out and go to another group, and I'll go create another organization faster than I can mess with somebody that doesn't want it and is playing games. You with me? You can't beat a dead horse and make him win a race. See, the problem is that you got to sponsor 15 to 20 to find 3 to 4 that want to go now, and you can only work with 3 to 4 that don't have leadership in each group at one time. If you try to work with 15, you can't do it. You got to sponsor 15 to 20 to find 3 or 4. You can't sponsor 3 to 4 and try to make them the 3 to 4 you'd get if you sponsored 15 to 20. See, people are predictable. That's what I'm telling you. Now, what's the next holiday? Thanksgiving? I'll guarantee you the experts in this country can tell you how many people are going to die on the highways within 2 or 3% in this whole country. I'll guarantee you they can tell you in each state how many are going to die on the highways. I'll guarantee you the actuarial charts and insurance companies can tell you how many people are going to die of heart attacks in America this year. They can tell you how many people are going to die in airplane accidents and car accidents. They can even break it down. How many people are going to die in swimming pools and oceans and ponds.
People are predictable. They can tell you how many are going to die of lung cancer, of kidney disease, of all types of diseases. They can tell you within a percentage point or two of how many are going to do this or do that. We know that 150 million girls are going to have abortions this next year, unless the laws are changed. We know that another million kids are going to be born out of wedlock in America this year. We know there's over 10 million alcoholics. We know how many bottles of liquor are going to be sold in this country. People are predictable. Are you with me? We know that about 15 to 20, now the chances of you getting 15 to 20 where none of them will do it would probably reflect on you that you're not doing the 5 to 7 meetings, or else you need to cut your hair. Or change your soap. Wear some deodorant. I guarantee if you had BO and you sponsored 15 to 20, you wouldn't have anything. I've seen some people we'd sponsor in the business, and we'd go sponsor some for them, and they'd kick them out. With their attitude, they'd want to be the boss. I'm not the boss of anybody in the business, thank goodness. I find some people start pointing the finger and want to be big cheese. We don't need that in this business. We need to serve people, not boss them. Just the other way. You can put that in your pipe and smoke it, in my opinion. 1 year on faith. The second year, year number 2, is going to be a year of total action. Because there's no way that you can put the first year on faith and just on good faith and just keep on keeping on. I don't care how many no's, how many yeses, just keep on keeping on, because when I go into an opportunity meeting, here's my attitude. I am not home watching the idiot box. I am out there sharing my dream, and whether they get in or not is their situation, because when I leave the house, I'm as happy as I can be, because I wasn't home doing nothing. I was someplace, somewhere, sharing my dream, and I hope to get in. And if they don't, no problem. Because I did what I can control, which is me, my thinking in my mind. I can control where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be doing and what I'm going to be saying. And that's what I did that night. I drove to their house. I paid the expenses of my car or my airplane or whatever I used. And I did my thing. And if they get in, fantastic. If they don't get in, fantastic. Okay. Why? Because I know when I am consistent and persistent, I'm going to find a Hal Gooch there one night. A good old boy. That wants to do less fishing and hunting and more making money, right, Al? I know that I'm going to find a sharp woman there somewhere. Even if she's got a dud, she's going to try to cultivate him some. Like Mickey Hamlet, didn't want to get in. His wife had to borrow $25 next door to buy a kit. That dummy. Teaching English in high school. No living room furniture. A car that was eaten up with cancer. I've never seen tires so slick in all my life on a car. I have never seen the inner tube coming from the roadside of the tire. That's true. But his wife, sweet little old Dottie, got excited because she didn't want to be a nurse for the rest of her life. Tell me how nurses have so much status carrying bedpans. I had a nurse one time, couldn't see herself selling soap. That's like a guy recently. Couldn't see himself selling soap when he worked for Procter & Gamble. You got to realize one thing. Some of us just aren't dumb. We're stupid. Okay. When I'm consistent and persistent, guess what's going to happen? My goal is going to get closer and closer and closer and closer. Guess what happens when you're consistent and persistent? Your goal is going to get closer and closer and closer and closer. Guess what happens when you quit trying? The goal becomes a never, never land for you. There ain't no gain without some pain. And you can't let the dream stealers rob you of one of your most important assets in life. That's the windows to your future, your dreams, your vision. You can't let pride steal one of the greatest parts of your being,
your ability to see things not as they are, but as they can be. I'm proud to be a dreamer. How about you? And no man or woman can take away my right to be a dreamer. You know, that's one of the reasons, that's how I know God made me. You know, we're the only animals that know we're going to die someday. We're going to pass on out of this body. No other animal knows that. We're the only animals that can do many things in life. Some great animals, but we're the greatest. Because we have the ability of vision. The dog didn't have vision. Horses don't have vision. Maybe they didn't think it's going to be good when they eat. But they don't have great vision. You and I can have great vision. You know, America is the vision of people, too. And we're living in something that they dreamed of hundreds of years ago. But we're letting their dream die because we've been sold down the river, drop by drop, so gradual we didn't realize we were being sold down the river. But when we get our goals and dreams back, we go back and check the origin, see the basics. You got to stick with the basics. When you get away from the basics, it's just like some of the greatest piano players in the world. Somebody said, what are you doing practicing the, what do you call it, the octaves or, scales? That's basic. In this business, you stay with the basics. You stay in the creative end of it. Don't get into the logistical and maintenance part of it. Stay in the creative end of it. That's in the living room and the den. People get all hung up in logistics and get to be great managers. But you know, I've learned to delegate. I don't do anything that I can hire somebody if they can do it as well as me or better. I don't fly my own airplane. I hire a guy that's got 12,000 hours. That's all he does. I told him to stay out of the business. I need somebody poor working for me. Keep their mind on that. Now, I'm really going to get him in, I guess, one of these days, but I'm not going to force him, you know that. But he's starting to ask questions. Everybody talks to him. Aren't you in the business? No. You're not. Oh. I say, look, leave him alone. I need a few servants. I don't cut my grass. I make myself worth $4 an hour. Right? I don't change the tires in my car and make myself work $3.50 an hour. I don't make the tires either. You know, rich people got to have poor people. Did you know that? I don't have time to put the electricity in the electric lines. I don't have time to put the water in the water lines. The sewer in the sewer lines, take it out. I don't have time to fix the holes in the streets and put the curb and gutter down and pave the streets. I don't have time to build the bridges. I don't have time to build this building. I have time to use them for a purpose that's higher than what they are. See what I'm saying? We have to learn to delegate or stagnate in life. You never do anything that you can hire someone to do because that leaves you free to do what they can't do if you're creative. So, are you with me on this? Goal attainment is vital because that gives us an interpersonal relationship with other people, because consistency plus persistency creates this interpersonal relationship with other people as we attain our goals. You with me? And that involvement, that personal involvement, interpersonal involvement creates this self-image, because when we're consistent and persistent in this dealing towards a positive goal, we're going to be relating to people that are going to go somewhere with their life. And that's why we need to be a part of an organization, because you come here to get your battery charged. Why do you think we have organizations? For you to tap into. For you to bring your people, to let them see the realness of it. Like some of you are here for the first time this weekend, and I don't know if you know it or not, but you're getting some of the best teaching right now that's ever been done in an Amway meeting. All right? Now, you know, I'm not ashamed to tell you that, because I know that beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, you should see that you need people that have done what you want to do. Now, if we were in here talking about brain surgery, I would not be on the stage. Except I'm a part-time brain surgeon. That's what we're really doing up here is is overcoming some of this negative junk we've got in our minds. See, most people have learned how to fail, haven't they? You know, we're taught how to fail. Our society teaches failure, not success. This is one of the first success classes you've ever had for those of you that are new in the business. But you see, it's making sense too, isn't it? That's the important thing. It isn't hard to understand once you got your mind on the right track and got your heart in the right direction. Success is not that complicated. It's more difficult to succeed than it is to fail, but we've got to pay the price of failure or success. And I choose to pay the price of success. How about you? Okay, you see? It's one or the other. You know, we either make a choice to succeed or failure is what? Automatic, isn't it? We either use the principles of success or failure. Now, how many of you believe I've taught you something new this weekend? Okay, that's what you think. I haven't taught you anything new. I have not taught one single new fact this weekend. If I came in here and taught you something new, you'd say, why hasn't my upline told me about it? All I'm doing is explaining why. They teach you certain things. Have you been taught to be consistent and persistent? Have you been taught that diamond is where it really is? Have you been taught that you have to have an interpersonal relationship with other people? Have you been taught their needs? Have you been taught you need to be motivated? You've heard about self-image too, haven't you? I'll just put them all together so you can understand them better, right? Ain't it great? Okay. So, this is a classroom situation to make you understand who you are, to make you understand that God doesn't say, hey, I want you to succeed and I want you to fail. Stand up, dummy, fail. He gave everybody in here has got a share of what they need to succeed with. And if some of you dumb bunnies let your pride get in the way or age get in the way, and if some of you are sponsored by your kids and think you can't listen to your kids, stay broke. Be an old broke person. You know? Give your kids somebody to take care of when you get real old. Well, I don't like the way he talks. That's just the truth. I'd say it smiling too, can't I? You see, what we're doing, we're changing ruts. Most people are in a failure rut. All you got to do to know if you're failing is check your bank account. No secrets. You don't wonder whether you are or not. You just check your bank account. Now, all we're doing is trading a success rut for a failure rut. Because I hope you build this business exactly the way that Dex does, exactly the way that I do, exactly the way Bill does, exactly the way Hal does, exactly the way your Emerald does, your Direct. Hope you're doing it exactly the way we do. Because if you are, you're in the success rut now. Because people are used to ruts. And so why stay in a failure rut? Why not step over into a success rut and do the things that create success rather than create failure? And so that's why organization is important. You be a good part of the organization. Like the newsletter, for instance, that you have in this organization. It's a good one. It's a good thing to do. You keep up with what's happening. What is it, $1 a month, I think? No big deal, but $1 a month keeps you up to date with what's really going on. You cannot expect to be a good leader unless you're a good follower. That's the way it happens. I've never seen a great leader that wasn't a great follower, and everybody I've ever seen that attempted to be a great leader that wasn't a great follower lost their following before they became a great leader. You see, you can't be respected unless you first respect somebody. You got to respect first to be respected. Okay, you got to follow first to be a leader. I tell you who I really enjoy seeing. Like, we got a guy in one of our groups that's about 51 years old, and his sponsor is a sharp 22-year-old guy and his wife. And he edified. He said they're the sharpest two of the sharpest people I've ever seen in my entire life, and I am proud that they're my leaders. Now, you know what we want for that guy that's 51? We love him. And his wife, because they're so open and so honest about the fact that this couple are great leaders, that this 51-year-old guy and his wife are going to be great leaders because everybody wants them to be, because they're edifying their own leadership. 3 things in this business that you got to make sure that you do. Number 1, you never mess with anybody's money. Number 2, you never mess with anybody's wife or husband in it in an improper way. If you want to lose a fortune, you just try that. I'll guarantee you this whole business will pick you up and set you outside and forget who you were. I remember I got a Pearl in one of our groups that did all of it. And he's lost a fortune. He's lost his self-esteem. He's lost everything for 20 minutes. He's lost it. Will he ever get it back? I don't think so. I don't think he'll ever get it back. A lot of people are disappointed in him and say, what happened to him? We can't even say what happened to him. Just say, you won't be seeing him around anymore. third thing you don't mess with is somebody's ego. You don't mess with anybody's money. In other words, if they're supposed to get money on time, they get it on time, period. That's it. There's no question about it. If you have a question, check with your upline. There's three other things. We call them cardinal rules that you never do. Number one, you never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, never, 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 ever, never, ever, ever allow negative to go down line. There is no circumstance that you ever allow negative to go down line. You find somebody bad-mouthing and talking, this is a business where people can't be talking negatively about other people. Have you ever noticed it? Even if you're trying to talk good to someone's face and you're talking negative behind their back, when you talk in the face, you still can't talk good. Have you ever noticed it? If you go to someone's house that has kids, you can tell the way their kids treat you whether they like you or not. Isn't that right? Because they've heard the parents talking. And if you're talking around other distributors and then these other people walk in, you've already, see, the mind's a funny thing. You've messed up those minds against those people. And it can be felt. It's things. Thoughts are things. Thoughts create actions, and actions create habits, and habits create lifestyle. And if they're negative, they're going to have a wrong lifestyle. Thoughts are things. Okay, the next thing is you never, ever do anything for the first time without checking up line. Why? Because that's where the experience is. Right? You never do anything for the first time without checking upline. Why? Because your upline doesn't want you to screw it up. And they've already done it, so you don't have to invent the wheel, except the fact that there's a wheel and a roll if it's pushed. So when you get some bright ideas, check them out. I remember my brother-in-law came in, and he was very brilliantly broke. And he didn't like the way I did the plan. He wanted to change it the first night. He worked for Fireman's Fund Insurance. And he said that you need to do the Ben Franklin close. I said, why don't you try it my way for a while? Well, any salesman knows you don't sell anything without closing. Well, I said, I'm sure I'm not selling. He said, you're selling. Oh, well, he did his meeting, and he gave him the Ben Franklin close. He did 2 meetings before he quit. We did 3 meetings before he quit. He didn't do anything with his 2, but I did something with my 3. My wife and I now have 2 direct distributors, personally sponsored. Because I didn't do the Ben Franklin close. Now, I don't care how brilliant he is, he's still broke. And I'm not. You need to learn why people do things, and then do them that way and take them on what? The word is faith. But you'll never be asked to do anything immoral, illegal, or improper, because this business won't work with that junk. This is a business of integrity and of respecting other people, their right to have a dream, and never take it, never in any way, shape, or form trying to rip them off. You start trying to make money on your people improperly, and you know what isn't right in your heart? Let me tell you something. They're going to bounce you out. I've seen people, when they get in the business, their eyes look like dollar bills, clicking like a machine, both of them rolling. We recently had a function over here. Mickey Hamlet had it. And some enterprising guy brought Mickey Hamlet reunion T-shirts. Now, I don't know what he's going to do with them, but he couldn't sell them there. So maybe somebody else wants a Mickey Hamlet reunion T-shirt somewhere. Man, we've been through it with that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Had him a booth set up selling Mickey Hamlet reunion T-shirts. People see numbers, and man, they're going around like crazy. I don't let nothing be sold at my function unless it's approved. It's for the good of the people involved, not just for the ones selling it. It's got to be a basic need filled there and so forth. So you have to be careful with all these things. Now, you see, because all that is short-term, folks. If it's wrong, it's short-term, and it'll be thrown out. And then whoever did it will be worse off, because it may start depending on the money that they got wrong. And it may turn them negative. In fact, it probably does. You understand what I'm saying? This is a business where you make the money at the right time by doing the right things, and if you try to short-circuit the system, it'll give you a shock. Okay? So it's a business of edifying the upline, but not making gods out of them, just treating them the way you want to be treated by your downline, because I got a promise for you. However you treat your upline, your downline's going to do more of it to you. The way you teach your downline is by their observing how you relate to your upline. Now, if you can maintain a friendship with your first direct, you're fantastic. Usually first directs know as much as the person that sponsored them. And it's pretty hard for them to tell them anything and relate to them and counsel them. That's why you need to have an upline, so that upline can counsel your first direct for you. You should be happy for them, too. Most people don't get along with their first directs. Now, I'm not trying to set that up here. I'm just trying to tell you, if you maintain a friendship with your first direct, you are fantastically phenomenal. Because they always think they know as much as you do. That's why you got to have a leapfrog thing up to your upline, and you tell them it's okay for them to counsel them. And just about every one of our directs, the first and strongest leg, I did most of the talking and counseling with them. It's got to be a bigger pen. But you see, we have this other situation, that whoever's being edified has to be edifiable. I mean, you just can't edify, just like a woman can't edify a mouse. She's got to have a man edifying. In the long haul, she may do it temporarily, hoping it's going to change. But you see, in this business, you have to be edifiable to your downline. In other words, you have to be honest and dependable and predictable to them. And if you say, well, don't do what I do what I say, and you're not doing anything, guess what they're going to do? Leadership in this business is by example. You don't do what I say, you do what I do. And you should be the type of person that would say, well, I'd like to sponsor 20 just like me. I'd be a crown in no time. How'd you like to sponsor 20? Exactly like you. Now, if all 20 had done exactly what you've done since you got into business, how big would your pen be? You direct? Well, you have 20 not quite directs then. Huh? At least he says we're on the way. He's claiming it, right? Whatever it takes. I'm going to do it, Bill. I've made that decision. There ain't no backing out of that one. Between me and you and God, I'm going to do it. Ain't no question about it. That's it. See, okay? All right? So, does this make sense? Do you understand how to go diamond? Okay, you tell me what it takes to go diamond. Let's see if you got everything in order. Huh? You sponsor the whole for those that are willing. Yeah, okay, now what I didn't put in there that you should is you become a good person in the organization. You're reading 15 to 20 minutes every night. It's habit forming. You're listening to tapes. Your car is your university on wheels. Every time you travel, you should be absorbing information from people that are doing it. Don't listen to the guys that aren't doing it. Listen to the ones that are doing it. Saturate your mind with people that are doing it. Now, you can take a little bit out of this one like you may like Kay Fletcher, okay? So you listen to Kay Fletcher, and you may like to listen to Dex, because, man, you relate to Dex real good. You may like to listen to Bill or Hal or any of them, whoever, but find different people and take a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one, a little bit, whatever fits your personality, and use them to improve your own personality. Find people. Now, like, everybody needs to have one good tape that absolutely motivates them that you put in right before you walk up to the house. Then you need to have one in case you have a no-show that you can play on the way home. That'll pick you up again. I'm serious. Okay? I'm serious. See? That tape's putting what? Thoughts. Okay? We're opening up our mind and letting thoughts go in there. Success thoughts. Proven success thoughts. I love to listen to tapes. I'll tell you what, I remember I used to love to listen to Willie Bass, still do. But when I first heard about Willie, the old guy can't read and write, and I just got excited listening to Willie talk, because he was a winner talking. And that just turned me on something big. So right before I'd get up to a house, about 10 or 15 miles, I'd stick old Willie in a tape player, and I'd listen to him sound off a while. And I'd walk in there like a tiger. But find somebody you really relate to good and keep that tape handy. Don't let anyone get it or take it away or anything. Very, very important. See, remember, just like some of you are in businesses where you got tools that you need to run your business, this business requires tools too. Your clothes, part of the tool, your knowledge, it's part of your equipment to understand situations, how to deal with people, your consistency and your persistency, your goal, all these things are part of the makeup towards becoming a diamond in a business. But I believe with all my heart, if you're consistent and persistent, and if you're working at 5 to 6 nights a week, it's going to become a reality if you're a good part of the organization. Now, how many of you have uplines that are not here? But you're here, aren't you? You know what you look for? Your upline that is here. If your immediate upline isn't here, guess who's interested? The upline that is here. Right? I'm not saying cut the others out. But if you go to a lot of meetings and they're not around, you'll notice one thing, they're not growing. Have you noticed that? I mean, that's no secret, is it? If they're too busy to come, now maybe they're having a baby or broke their leg or something, went to a funeral, and that's okay. But this is a life or death situation. Succeeding is life or death situation, folks. If it isn't important, what is? If someone's out playing golf, or someone went to the football game, they're not with it. Now, I don't know of anybody that did, so I'm not saying anything personal. Nobody here is going to affect my income, right? If all of y'all fail, I'm still going to make it. Right? You do what you want to do. I hope you make it. But the fact is, when other people make other things more important, guess where success is going to be in their life? And success doesn't become a fact until it becomes very, very important in your life. We have to do the things that are important instead of the things we don't get done. If we don't get some things done, would be the least important things rather than the most important things. And succeeding is important, isn't it? Okay, so this is I told you yesterday afternoon we were going to do a good thing this afternoon. Now let's talk about how to go diamond one more time. Make sure you got it. You sponsor 15 to 20 people at your level or above. Not 5 or 6. 15 to 20 at your level or above. My wife and I have only sponsored 32 people in 10 years. Can you do that? That's right. We work with them when we sponsor them. Now, we had a good thing there, too. Like, this is us. We sponsored a guy by the name of John, Phi Beta Kappa at University of North Carolina. Very brilliant. Helped him sponsor 3 people. He came to me one day and said, if you're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer, sing God Bless America, I'm going to tell my people stay away from meetings. I said, John, tell them stay away. We're going to do them. And so he told them to stay away, but they didn't stay away. He stayed away. And pretty soon he came and said, I want to quit. He quit to sell bean bags and wooden barrels. At least he was in business for himself. And so, guess what? All 3 of those came to us. And then one of these was living with a girl. His name was Don. I said, Don, that's against God's laws. You can't do that. You know, you're going to get the milk, you got to buy the cow. And so he quit after a while. Peer pressure. He didn't like the girl, he was just living with her. They didn't want to get married. They had a lot of problems. Anyway, that left me out with 4, where it started out with 1. Now, one of these didn't get his act right. He had 2 legs. Pretty soon, he needed a lot of money, had gotten into debt. We took over 250 bad checks. There's 2 diamonds, an emerald, and 2 pearls now. Ain't it great? Some people are really stupid, folks. If that guy had any idea, of course, you know, I don't know what would have happened if he'd stayed in. Probably may not have a director at all, because he might have wiped him out with his dumb thinking. He was telling people, don't go to rallies. All they do is sing, God Bless America. pledge allegiance to a flag. See, he was a product of our liberal society as a Phi Beta Kappa student. And liberalism keeps people poor, folks. Liberalism does not create success. Liberalism and socialism are against the freedom of the individual and the right of choice. They try to make us all the same, equally poor. You go in any socialist society in the world and you find they're all the same. No dream. Just looking out at space. Just more and more of the same every day, except it gets worse. So, but I'll never know what would happen if he'd have stayed in, because he didn't stay in. But anyway, we got 5 directs. One of them's Dr. Wayne and Carol Martin. Bill and Kay Wallace. Yeah. Well, it's only the rest of stuff. You wouldn't know their names. But, you see, I never worried about, was I going to keep on keeping on? Yeah, when the quitters quit, I let them quit, and I keep on keeping on and pick up the pieces, and I wind up better off than I was before. Direct to me, it's worth a lot of money. I'm not going to tell you how much, because it mess you up. But we found it to be worth more than $150,000. So I believe it's hard work. It's hard work, but I believe it's worth it. But I've never been 10 deep in an organization that I don't have a director, one foreman. Would you do that? Let me tell you how you can do it. Just over and over again. When you're driving your car, say, I'll do it, whatever it takes. I'll pay the price. I don't care what it is. You got to sell yourself on you. Mirror imaging or whatever you call it. You have to sell you on you. Women, if you're having trouble judging your husband and putting him down, you need to get in front of a mirror and bless yourself out. You see, you need to say, God, give me the ability to love and respect my husband when he's out there drawing the circles, because he's doing what it takes to provide a better life. I'm telling you, the women in this room right now should be happier, except for other organizations like this, than any women in America and in the world. Because their husbands are usually out drawing circles. Now, in some cases, we have some women that do the circle drawing. We've got a couple in qualification for diamond right now where the guy has never drawn the circles. His wife's always done it, but she's always edified him in the process, and she's never taken his manhood away. Now, that's abnormal, but they've done it, and they're in qualification for diamond, and they got a good lifestyle in the business. So I'm not putting women down and say they can't do certain things. They just can't take the manhood away from a man and wipe him out. You see, a woman can't be the queen unless she makes the man the king. You see. That's a very, very, very important concept. And I don't know if anybody teaches it in this country except us. We're the only people I know that teach happiness. And we got the happiest people in the world as a result. Because when you leave here today, you should leave here with a lot of hope. When you break the barrier between this hotel and the front door out there, or the side door, or wherever you go out, you ought to walk out of it with a lot of hope. Because, see, we're not looking for just anybody. We're looking for lookers. How many of you in here can honest to goodness say you were looking for something, you were praying for something, you were seeking something, maybe not consciously but subconsciously, deep down you were looking for something when this business came your way? Stand up and let everybody see. Okay, that's who you're looking for. Thank you. Sit down. You are looking for lookers. So when you find a non-looker, don't worry about it. You with me? So are they out there? Yeah, if you're going to go show this plan and put your best foot forward, create the best self-image you can, dress as best you can, take care of yourself the best if you can, have the best mental attitude that you can, and be consistent and persistent as you can, you know you can't show this thing 5 or 6 nights a week for 2 years without finding 6 people that are going to do it no matter what. Amen on that one, huh? So, do you know how to go diamond? Okay, don't blame me if you don't go. Because that's good stuff. And it works for those that work it. Period. Remember my promises. Success will not attack you. If you don't have your dream on the end of your tongue, you don't have a dream. And the dream in here, if someone says, what's your dream? You say, to be a diamond in the Amway business. You ought to come back just like that. To be a diamond in the Amway business. What's your dream? What's your dream? So you have it, what, rolling right off the end of your tongue. So what's your dream? Be a diamond in the Amway business. You shouldn't even have to take a breath. What's your dream? Be a diamond in the Amway business. You with me? You don't have the dream on the end of your tongue, you haven't got a dream. So now you got a dream on the end of your tongue, right? You know that success will not attack you. You have to go after it, right? You know that if you're not using the principles of success, you're automatically using the principles of failure, right? So you've decided to use the principles of success. You know that whatever you say is what you get because you're hung by the tongue. For instance, how many people in here have a tough time sponsoring people? Raise your hands real quick. Okay, stand up. All of you that raise your hands, stand up. Everybody has a tough time sponsoring. Stand up. Nobody sits down. Okay, all of you say, Bill, I have a tough time sponsoring people. Bill, I do not want to have a tough time sponsoring people. Now, any of you not serious, sit down. Now, everybody standing is serious, right? Will you take me on faith for about 2 minutes? Okay? In God's book, he said, you're snared by the words of your... What does that mean? It means hung by the tongue. It means whatever you confess, you're going to possess. Now, if you want to have a problem sponsoring people, say, I want to have a problem sponsoring. Then you can have it. In fact, it's automatic. If you don't want to have problems sponsoring people, say, I do not have a problem sponsoring people. I used to have a problem sponsoring people because I understand that what I say is what I get. And I do not want to have a problem sponsoring people. Therefore, I'm not going to say it because I'll have it if I say it. I'm serious. Y'all come on with me now. Y'all must be new, right? Okay. And you're getting the first degree right now. All right, now you with me? If you say what you don't want, you're going to get what you don't want. Well, so why not say what you do want so you can have what you do want? If you're going to be snared by your words, right? Have you ever noticed that everybody lives the way they speak? Have you ever noticed a rich person talking like a poor person? Have you ever noticed a poor person talking like a rich person? Why? Everybody is a result of what? Here's the computer, here's the programmer. You have to program this computer with something, don't you? What do you program it with? Everything you've ever read, heard, said, in any way, shape, or form, experienced in your life is a composite of what you are right now, right? Would you agree to that mentally? You with me? Now, if I were to give everybody in here arsenic, y'all just keep standing. You're bad kids. Wait a minute, I'm making a point to you. You'll never forget it, all right? If I gave everybody in here arsenic, enough to kill you like Guyana did, down in Guyana. Man, Jim Jones, yeah. We'd be in all the newspapers for years to come. Britt had a cult. And he fed them all arsenic. And bodies swell up, lay all over the place, and people from the hotel come down here, and one of them started to see what was on it. People dead all over the place, laying all over the place. They said, oh, you're kidding. No, come down and look. They come here, all over the place. Okay, but if I were to give you just enough to kill you, but then if I'd say, no, I'm going to give you 1/365th each day for a year, that's not enough to kill you. You know what? That'd be almost like fluoride in the water. In other words, we can dilute it. If you get it in all one slug, it's deathly, right? It's lethal. But if you get it diluted, it's not lethal, is it? It may make you sick, but it won't kill you. There's a big difference between being sick and dead. All right? You with me? So what we have to do is dilute what we've learned. You see, you've learned how to be poor, or just get by and act like you're not poor. I did. All right? Now, what we have to do is dilute that junk. And how do we do it? By putting so much good stuff in and then it dilutes the negative. Think of a field out here in a farm. If it had nothing but weeds in it, nobody tended it. Okay, let's say that you go out and plant wheat. Well, the weeds are still going to be there, but you can't see them because there's so much wheat. So you don't say, hey, that's a wheat patch. You say, that's a wheat field. Right? That's good. A weed patch is what? No good. Nobody benefits. So you plant enough wheat so that the weeds don't make any difference. They're still there. Now, that good or bad is going to still be there. If I pick up a gun here and shoot somebody, it's, you know, it wouldn't do anybody any good, but it's still, I did it, and you saw it, and you witnessed it. You've experienced it, and you can't back up and say you didn't. How many of you ever said it takes money to make money? Be honest. How many have ever said it's all it takes it to make it? Well, let's look at the process there, process of deduction. If you haven't got it, you can't get it because you got to have it before you can get it, so forget it. Right? So that's been programmed into your what? Into your computer, hasn't it? Just like a computer. And wherever you program it now, God gave us a way out. He said we're snared by the words of our mouth. Which means that you don't let this control this, you make this control that. And you make this say what you want and not let that overrule it. Because you have different compartments of the brain, conscious, subconscious, or whatever you want to call it and so forth. Tip of the iceberg and all that. You with me? Is anybody, is making sense to anybody? Yeah. So the key is what? Programming the brain with this thing in a positive way. That's why we have people say, we're going to do it, whatever it takes. What are we doing here? Who hears that? We do. Right? Okay, now we're ready. Bill, everybody standing up. Those of you sitting down are okay. Bill, I'm sorry I'm so stupid. I apologize sincerely. Never again in my life will I say what I don't want. Never again in my life. Everything I do and say is going to be in a positive direction. Everything I do and say is in a positive direction. And I claim that I'm a winner. And I used to have a problem sponsoring. I don't have it anymore. I'll never have it again. I'm excited about the people that will be in my group. I don't know who they are yet, but they're going to be fantastic. They are going to be great. Because we're going to do it whatever it takes. And we'll never have this problem sponsoring. We'll not have any problem that we can't overcome. Because we're winners. That's the way God made me. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm accepting it. Therefore, I'm going diamond. Whatever it takes. That's it. Period. Now, are you beginning to get the idea? Wait a minute. Okay, now watch. Everybody stand up, stay standing up. Everybody sitting down, stay sitting down. Everybody sitting down, say, I'm an individual personal miracle of God. And I've got what it takes. I'm excited. Whatever it takes, that's what I'll do. Period. That's it. Okay. Have a seat. Now, gets exciting, doesn't it? Now, let me just give you a couple things. Guess who I talked to for 4 hours the other night? A psychiatrist came to me for counseling. It's amazing how simple this is when you get your heart in the right place. Because what are we seeking? Why do people go to psychiatrists? Because they're unhappy, don't they? Right? You don't see happy people going to psychiatrists. They got problems, haven't they? Do you know that we create our own problems? You don't have to worry about other people creating problems in your life. If you've got a problem, look in the mirror.
man says, well, my wife just isn't right. Friends, because you're not right. That's what got the wife not right. There has to be a source, doesn't there? So we're seeking what? Happiness? We're not seeking money. We're seeking happiness, right? Okay, we're happy when we're childlike. Not children. And I don't mean in terms of being... I mean, we're happy when we're free as a kid is. To laugh. What does a child do? They'll laugh real easy, won't they? They get excited about little things, don't they? Anything they get excited about most anything. If they're free, if their parents haven't got them all messed up. There's a lot of yelling and junk going around the house, and then they hurt the kid, don't they? In that environment. But a kid that's loved and respected, and folks respect each other in a home, has a fantastic life in this country. It's the garbage created by the parents that creates a problem with the kid that takes it on to adulthood and creates it for his kids, that create it for their kids, that create it for the other kids, that spread it among all the schools and create it for everybody else. So the answer is get the parents right, get the parents dreaming, get the daddy dreaming. When the daddy dreams, America's okay. So when you get out in the world this week and this year and so forth, and it tries to put you down because you got a dream, you kick it in the butt and keep on going. Don't let any dream stealer steal your dream. You got a right to it. You got a right to overcome what you are, because what you are is not near good enough. It's never good enough until you die, and you've done everything you can to be as good as you could be, because you've been as productive and creative as you can be. And the last day that you live, effectively have a life, is the day that you create the most in your life. For fulfilling that last dream. Never have all your dreams become a fact. Create a new one as soon as you see you're about to get one. And be cool hand loose. When you walk, when you talk, when you eat, when you exist, when you're relating with people, don't get hung up on the temporary. Get excited about what's permanent. Don't be judging people and belittling people and finding fault with other people. Get excited about the greatness in every human being. Because when you find fault with other people, you're really hurting yourself. Look for the goodness in others and set the example and let the chips fall where they may and just keep on trucking. And you'll be there. Be tough. Be determined. And be dedicated. And you'll make it. It's no secret. You'll make it. We'll wind up and let all those go that need to and leave the direction here. I want to tell you one thing. You've got the finest leadership in the world of Amway, and I take my hat off to your leaders here this week, to Hal and Susan, to Bill and Hannah, and to all the other people. You can't beat them.
While the techniques and approaches suggested may have worked for others, no one can guarantee that they will work for you. We hope, however, that the ideas presented here will assist you in developing a strong and profitable business. This product has been produced independently of any other corporate entity. Purchase of this product is optional. Purchase of future business tools can be discontinued at any time.